Full and uncut versions available on Patreon. Check in the description below.
Greetings once again, Pokemaniacs. Duuz-Diz-Din back again with more of the Pokemon Adventures manga. We're previously in the Black and White arc. With the Pokemon League in full swing, the Shadow Triad moves in the shadow. Oddly enough, they happen upon the Swords of Justice en route to meet with their apprentice Keldeo. The Triad decides to try to capture them but are outmatched. So they go back to working on the secret project of Team Plasma, Genocide, only for the gym leaders who hadn't been present for quite some time, Chili, Salon, and Crest, to show up to try to take them on, but they end up outmatched. But the Swords of Justice have decided that the Shadow Triad is up to no good and needs to be stopped. So they go to join in the fight with Keldeo in tow. During the course of the Pokemon League, though, Chirin's cold attitude really starts to grate on Black's nerves. And once it is decided that they will face each other in the finals, Black is all too ready to knock some sense into his old friend, especially when he starts preaching the rhetoric of Team Plasma. Apparently a meeting with Zinzalin and then subsequently N, during the time when N had awoken Zekrom, had changed something in the mind of Chirin. But during their battle, White, who has been investigating the mysterious members of the Pokemon League, competitors in the Pokemon League, finds that Hoodman and Zinzalin, or Gray, are in cahoots and members of Team Plasma. But White is ambushed, and while Looker does jump in to try to capture Zinzalin, when White calls out to Black to inform him of what's going on, he's teleported away by Hoodman. But Chirin is determined to continue his battle with Black, so they do so on the rooftop. Black manages to overwhelm his friend, just as a weird dream mist fills the area, and in a shared dream, Black and Chirin remember the dream they had long ago when they were kids. As Black awakens, he greets his own old friend Musha, who has evolved into a Musharna. But now, Black is filled with rage. Too many things have happened as a result of Team Plasma's machinations, and he will allow them to do no more harm. But he's in luck, as the Elite Four catch wind of Team Plasma's movements. And in that instant, Black awakens Reshiram. What'll happen next? Join me as I find out, won't you? Alright, this is it. The final volume of the Black and White arc. Technically volume 51 overall. It's volume 9 of Black and White. Black predominantly on the cover, complete with all of his Pokemon, including Reshiram, as well as N with his, I'm forgetting his name. Zoroa. There we go, Zoroa. But let's jump in. Ooh. It's finally time. The face-off. Reshiram and Zekrom. Lightstone and Darkstone. Black and N. Are we finally going to find out who the Hoodman is? There's a lot to wrap up, and we only have 6 chapters for this volume. Oh, also, we have Dat Boy Galvantula on the cover. Gotta put him in. Love me some Galvantula. I was tempted to put in a lot of Black's Pokemon, actually. Black's team is actually really cool. Alright, who's that Pokemon for this? Is Keldeo? I could have sworn. Or is it his alternate form? Keldeo. I'm keep flipping between Keldeo and Keldeo. But it's adventure number 59. Something suspicious. Alright. The Striaton City gym leaders are struggling against the Shadow Triad. Their Pokemon at the mercy of the Pokemon who are strongest against their types. It's Larvista, who is burning Pansage, Basculin, who is chomping down on Panseer, and Lilligant, who is grappling with Panpour. There we go. Salon questions. You think we weren't invited to the battle at the Nasserie Museum because the others believe we are too weak? Crest says that we have to gang up together just to protect a single gym, and a pissed off Chili says that the 3 of us don't even equal 1 gym leader? But the Shadow Triad just laughs. Chili gets ready to rush in saying, listen up, we are so strong that... But Crest stops him saying, it's pointless to argue with them, Chili. Salon says, they'll soon find out how weak we are. when we fight them. Okay. All of their Pokemon manage to break free of the grasp of the others, of the Shadow Triad's Pokemon. The Shadow Triads say, huh? Their Pokemon types are at a disadvantage, but they've turned things around? Talon gives a wink saying, that's right. Crest says type advantages. And Chili finishes saying, that's the reason the three of us protect the same gym. When we were appointed gym leaders of Striaton City, Lenora told us. You see a flashback with Lenora approaching the three saying, congratulations, you three. Now, just because you're in charge of one Pokemon gym doesn't mean you aren't as good as the other gym leaders. Your gym has been specially designed to teach trainers about type advantages. Type advantages are the first thing a rookie trainer needs to know. And the simplest way to teach them is by using grass, water, and fire as examples. Grass is strong against water, water is strong against fire, and fire is strong against grass. That's what you'd call a three-way standoff. Kind of like rock, paper, scissors. We need a gym that teaches trainers about types, and that's where you come in. Hold your head up high, take pride in your role. Talon says, yes, each of us is an official gym leader. Crest says, that's right. Well, Chili questions, would you like to battle me and see how strong I am, Lenora? Lenora laughed. You don't have to prove anything to me, and it looks like you have things under control. In present day, Talon says, so maybe you should give some thought as to why we're here, huh? The Triad says, what? You followed us? Yeah, dinguses. Like, come on. You don't put all your eggs in one basket. I figured they had to be like tracking someone, but I wasn't sure who they were tracking. So more specifically, they were tracking down the Triad, which makes sense. Chili says, exactly. As Pansage goes after Basculin, Pansear goes after Lilligant, and Panpour goes after Larvistar. Chili says, and that's not all. We're also looking for these. What does he have? One of the Triad leader is shot. Oh, they're gonna evolve their Pokemon. Chili says Firestone. Crest says Waterstone, and Salon says Leafstone. They throw it to their respective Pokemon, and all of the primate Pokemon evolve. I will admit, I don't like their evolved forms as much as their pre-evolutions, but Pansage evolves into Simisage, Pansear evolves into Simisear, and Panpour evolves into Simipour. Simisage smacks Basculin with its tail, Simipour douses Larvistar with its water gun, and Simisear engulfs Lilligant and Flyer. As a 3-on-3 battle continues, the Swords of Justice watch from a nearby cliffside. Cobelion tells Keldeo, just as I anticipated, the humans have begun an ugly battle. Take a good look, Keldeo. But Keldeo questions, which of them is in the wrong? Cobelion tells him, there's no such thing as right or wrong in a battle between humans. Their battles are all about rejecting each other. That's why they're so horrible. And that feels like a bit of a naive way of looking at things. To just simply judge that this is an irrelevant and meaningless battle. It's just like, no, sometimes, there's a greater purpose behind this. The Striaton City gym leaders are fighting to protect people, whereas the Shadow Triad are actively trying to harm others. Keldeo looks to the other swords. Oh, no, he looks to the two sides. He looks to the Striaton gym leader saying, their skills. Then he looks to the Shadow Triad saying, this side looks stronger. But even though their Pokemon are following their orders and they're winning, they don't seem to be fighting with all their heart. Why is that? So even their Pokemon are just kind of going with the flow. Keldeo thinks to himself, I think it's because they don't want to fight this battle, and they're being forced to fight in a way they don't like. They're scared of losing. That's what it is. They're scared of how their trainers will treat them if they lose, which is actually a very sad way of looking at things. Then he looks to the Striaton's gym leader's Pokemon, thinking, the Pokemon on this side are losing. Their moves aren't as effective, but they're enjoying themselves. They're full of life. Their expressions, eyes, voices, words. These Pokemon trainers care about how they feel. So the Pokemon are giving this battle their all. They want to do what humans ask of them to please them. That's not all. Keldeo looks to the lab and thinks to himself, feels something strange emanating from that building over there. Unbelievable amount of power is seeping out of it. It doesn't feel right. And those people are giving off that same weird feeling, he says, looking at the triad. Keldeo thinks, is this what Cobelion was talking about? He remembers Cobelion's words. But it's humans like them who forget their place, that do things to endanger Pokemon. As he thinks about the gym leaders and triad, he thinks, is there really no such thing as a good and bad when it comes to humans? No. Cobelion stomps his foot, thinking, I think some humans are doing right and some are doing wrong, and I choose. Cobelion leaps in, Terrakion saying, what are you doing, Keldeo? Keldeo calls back, please, give me permission. Permission to use my sword. The others look to Cobelion, and Cobelion gives a nod, saying go ahead, and the others nod along with him. Keldeo summons his sword and springs over the head of the Striaton gym leaders, over to the side where the Shadow Triad are. The Triad turns, saying, what the? As Keldeo swings his sword, knocking back the Triad. Shalon says, what is that Pokemon? Chili questions, it's helping us? The Triad calls out, hey, when did you call another Pokemon? As they send their Pokemon in to attack. But Keldeo leaps out of the fray. Oh yeah, that's right. His water breakdancing hooves. I forgot about those. He shoots freaking water jets out of his hooves. That's so weird. But he blasts them with a water gun, knocking all of the Shadow Triad's Pokemon back. Shalon says, amazing! Oh, Chili says, it defeated all of them all by itself. Keldeo goes galloping over to Cobelion, saying, I've ended this battle. But suddenly, his leg is caught on a bit of grass. Oh, it seems little get used, maybe grass knot or something? The Triads shout to their Pokemon, now that is a powerful Pokemon. Attack it with all your might and capture it. But the gym leaders say, don't let them capture that Pokemon. Protect it. But something lands before the simian Pokemon. The Swords of Justice have intervened. Virizion frees Keldeo with her horn, saying, he lost focus again. While Terrakion says, but your use of your secret sword was quite impressive. Cobelion then says, remember this, Keldeo. You must not wield your sword half-hearted. You must resolve to cut through whatever stands before you. Keldeo says, resolution. Cobelion then says, there is one more sword to wield, and that weapon is called resolution. Terrakion says, Cobelion, let's drive these humans away. Virizion says, yes, let's. So all three summon their swords. Presses, fall back. Chili says, they're about to use a very powerful move. And the Swords of Justice all swing their swords simultaneously, knocking back. They don't seem to hit the Pokemon, but they hit Salon, Crest, Chili, and the Shadow Triad. Like, my god, guys. But Cobelion looks down at the down Triad, saying, humans, if you ever set foot in this place again, your clothes won't be the only thing I destroy. Cobelion goes to leave. As the Triad try to recover, they say, if only we hadn't handed Tornadus, Thundurus, and Landorus over to him, then we wouldn't have been defeated. We're coming back to finish this as soon as the research on how to turn them back into their Therian forms is completed. Oh, yeah, right. The Weather Trio have another form. But another of the Triads says, we don't have time to wait for that. Our operation has entered its final phase. How can we face Master Getsus if we let our enemies wander around willy-nilly? The other says, wait, don't tell me you're going to use that. The leader says, only for a moment, to teach them a lesson. Oh, they're unleashing Genesect. The leader accesses a doorway, telling Genesect, go, ancient hunter. Genesect fires off a massive blast. The blast flies over the head of the Striaton gym leaders, right towards Keldeo. Keldeo doesn't notice until it's pretty much too late, but Cobelion is the first. Virizion calls out to Keldeo, while Terrakion says, look out! Keldeo braces himself. The Striaton gym leaders look on in horror as the Shadow Triad sneer. Oh, but the other Swords of Justice all took the hit, all petrified. And everybody getting petrified. Huh, you know, I'm only just now realizing we never found out how unleashing Darkrai ended up petrifying the Pokedex holders. Like, why was that a result of releasing Darkrai? Fall and sink into the sea, with Keldeo only being able to get out the words, you. Oh, well dang. Don't tell me we're saving whatever happened to them until like the next story arc. It wouldn't be the first time. Just because they've done this so many times, petrifying people and then just pushing them to the side later. Alright, I guess this is the final series of chapters because it's titled after the box art Pokemon. It's Zekrom versus Reshiram, Part 1. I was going to say 2 for some reason. Adventure number 60, Cold Hard Truth. The Elite Four chair Taro, a very excited Zinzalin, Kimmy, Professor Juniper, Leo. Man, Leo got a front row seat to something wild. Looker, Professor Juniper. Said Professor Juniper. Cedric and Arua, Anita and Fennel are all shocked as Black, while holding Chirin, stands before Reshiram. And Reshiram's pure girth causes the skylight to give way underneath. But Black is allowed to float down like an angel from the heavens, thanks to Braviary slowly lowering him. Wild stuff. But the still captured Zinzalin, restrained by Kimmy, says, "Wonderful. The Light Stone has answered your call and transformed back into Reshiram." Black says, "Gray, no. Wait, no. I remember you now. You're Zinzalin, one of the 7 sages of Team Plasma. How dare you mess with my friend's head?" Zinzalin says, "First, permit me to congratulate you. Your dream has just been fulfilled." Black then notices that, yep, in fact, his capsule has reached the very top. Zinzalin says, "You have won the Pokemon League, although sadly there are no spectators here to applaud your victory." Kimmy says, "Don't worry. Mayor Drayden and Iris have evacuated everybody outside. You're prepared for this." Black says, "That's a relief. Now I can fight as rough as I want," as he rushes up the stands and grabs Zinzalin by the collar, saying, "Where are the gym leaders? And where did Hoodman take my boss?" Meanwhile, Bryson is being lowered somewhere under the Pokemon League. He's being lowered by Cragnole, though it looks like Beartick at the top of the hole, but that's Cragnole's chain. He's being lowered by Cragnole's chain down a hole into an abyss, as he says, "White, can you hear me, White?" It's no good. Not getting an answer from White's cross transceiver. The last call I got from her was to tell me that Hoodman and Gray seem to be conspiring with each other. She said she was going to move closer to hear what they were saying, and then nothing. What happened to her? And what is the meaning of this? I dug underground because I felt a strange resonance from below the Pokemon League stadium. Yeah. Oh yeah, he's been lowered to the ground floor or something. And this is what I found. He touches the ground, saying, "Some sort of man-made structure right beneath the stadium." Suddenly, a light shines on into his face, blinding him. He says, "Huh?" And the figure of the 7 sages says, "What a surprise. We didn't think anyone would notice. I thought all of you gym leaders were pitiful dunces. But I guess there are a few who still have their wits about them." What a surprise. Bryson says, "Team Plasma," and he sends Cragnole into attack. But Cragnole's chain almost hits Hawes, who says, "It's me, Hawes. I'm here too. I'm Lenore's husband." Bryson and Cragnole stop, as suddenly Getsis is behind him with his hydrangea. What was that one called again? Hydreigon. There we go. That's how you'd say its name. Getsis says, "Welcome, Bryson." Bryson turns nervously. Getsis with a calm smile says, "Welcome to our castle." Meanwhile, as Black continues to manhandle Zinzalin, he says, "Your castle? The gym leaders are being held captive inside Team Plasma's castle? Where is it?" Zinzalin says, "Relax, I'll take you there now." He activates some device he was holding in his captured hand. Kimmy sees it, saying, "Hey, what was that?" She grabs it, saying, "A remote?" Black says, "You just signaled the other Team Plasma members, didn't you?" Zinzalin, still smiling, says, "In a way, yes." Reshiram and Braviary notice as the arena starts to rumble. Oh, yep, sure enough. I'm like, it's underneath the stadium. But how does that work? I guess it works because it's much bigger than the stadium. As the earth around the Pokemon League starts to rumble, break, and crack and explode, Drayden, who's on top of one of the spires of the stadium, looks around with his Duuz-Diz-Din as something ominous erupts from the earth around the Pokemon League. Drayden can only watch in shock and horror as the people all watch in awe as well. I love the figure of the one person just falling over from everything that's happening as the castle of Team Plasma utterly surrounds the Pokemon League and everyone in attendance. My God, that is a wild depiction. I gotta give it to you. That is presentation. Man, was that in like the animation in the game? Because I don't know the location that Iris was in Generation. But if this is how it went down in like the animation in the games and stuff, that is wild. I kind of want to play Black and White now just for the scene of this. That is crazy. Although because of the changes made to the anime, Ash wouldn't have experienced anything like this, which is such a bummer. Man, the Black and White anime got nerfed to high hell because of a lot of very unfortunate events. Oh, that's such a cool visual though. Black is in awe and shock as he sees Team Plasma's castle looming overhead. Black says, "This isn't Team Plasma's castle." Oh no, it's Zinzalin who says, "This isn't Team Plasma's castle exactly. It belongs to our king." To end. Suddenly, doors open on the castle and ramps launch down towards the Pokemon League, smashing into it, sending people flying and almost crushing a child. But the man! Drayden comes in, saving the small child, getting them to safety. He accesses his cross transceiver saying, "Iris, are all the spectators all right?" Iris, with tears in her eyes, says, "I don't know. I brought them outside, but I'm not sure that was such a good idea, right?" Who could have predicted something like this? It's crazy. Iris shrieks as Drayden calls out, "What? What's wrong, Iris?" Iris says, "It's Team Plat." But her communication is cut off, and Drayden realizes a little too late that from the stairs that came out of the castle, a flood of Team Plasma members have come out and are currently surrounding him, the young child and his Duuz-Diz-Din, while N looks out from his castle with, what is it, Anthea and Cassiopeia? Was that their names? Anthea and Concordia. There we go. Anthea and Concordia. And tells them, "It looks like the stage has been set. It's all just as my father envisioned. Was this the right thing to do, Anthea?" Concordia? No, Concordia is the one with the V. Concordia says, "There's no need for you to worry, Anne." Anthea says, "Everything will work out as planned." And looks to Zekrom saying, "I suppose so. Let's go. Your opposite has also awakened, Zekrom." It's really hard to get a bead on what Zekrom's thinking, though. Reshiram senses Zekrom and roars towards the castle. Black calls out to Reshiram, while Zinzalin says, "And it has noticed that our king is about to make his entrance." Black says N, while Getsis approaches saying, "That's right." Getsis descends from the castle, the other sages in tow, as N overlooks from above on Zekrom. All members of Team Plasma are present. Well, the higher echelons. Suddenly in comes Getsis' Hydrangea. What? Why can I not get this thing's name down? Hydreigon with Hawes, and he just drops it right before Black. Black calls out to Mr. Hawes, and Hawes says, "Long time no see, Black. Bryson found us, but he got caught because of me." Yes, it says, "We have proven our worth by defeating the champion and taking over the Pokemon League. But that's still not enough to spread our idea. Our plan will only be complete after we show everyone that their gym leaders are powerless, the symbol of their town, the guardians of the gym badges, their idols. Behold these helpless gym leaders." And we see all the gym leaders crucified. Well, it's censored here to them just being weirdly tied to poles. It's like they kind of wouldn't be staying upright like that. So here's the actual uncensored scene where they're all crucified. It's wild. See, now it makes a little bit more sense how they kind of tied up with their legs bound and then their arms bound and all that. But crucifixion, even if you're not using nails, is still kind of a no subject in most situations. Yeah, that's kind of messed up, though. Reshiram flies up to where Zekrom is, and the two face off. Marshall calls out to the other Elite Four members, and now they're mocking us. Are you still unwilling to stand up to them? Caitlin simply says, they've gone a little too far in their campaign to share their beliefs, right? Chantal says, if I were to write a novel about this would be where the climactic battle begins. Marshall calls out to Grimsley, and Grimsley takes a moment and then says, with a snap, Chantal, get your Golurk out. And they all rocket up on Chantal's Golurk. Oh, but they're cut off by Hoodman riding atop his Clink-Clank? Yeah, Clink-Clank. Marshall questions Hoodman, while Hoodman says, since I've come to the Pokemon League, I've grown curious. I'd like to see how each of the Elite Four draws out the strength of their Pokemon. He sends out 3 Pokemon, I think? Oh, okay. Oh, wasn't expecting that one. He sends out Thundurus, Tornadus, and Landorus to face off with the Elite Four. Chantal is shocked, saying the legendary Pokemon, but Grimsley leaks off of Golurk, saying, you take care of these. I'll go after him. Chantal calls out to Grimsley, while Hoodman says, those 3 Pokemon are in their incarnate forms now. It would be interesting to test their potential here. I already know how to change them into their Therian forms. All that's left is... Meanwhile, Getsus says to Black, you can't decide, can you? Whether to fly up and fight our king, or to save those ridiculous gym leaders. But the fact is, he commands Hydreigon, and Hydreigon just starts laying into Black's Pokemon. While Getsus says, neither of those actions are options. Black looks around at his downed Pokemon as Getsus continues on, saying, even though you have your truth, it seems Reshiram has no need for you anymore now that it has been awakened from its stone. The other gym leaders are busy protecting the spectator. The champion has made a run for it and is nowhere to be found. And the Elite Four have their hands full with the 3 legendary Pokemon. Oh, I see Chandelure. I actually like Chandelure a lot. I think it's neat. I don't know if I'll ever have another opportunity to add it in, so I'll put it in here while I still can. Assuming it's Chantal's. Getsus tells Black, there is no one left here with the power to stop Team Plasma. Oh, only for a voice to call out, what makes you think only a champion or the Elite Four or the gym leaders can face you? We all have a dream. We all love Pokemon. We all have what it takes. The sages turn, saying, what the? Oh! Really? All the people that Black has met along the way. Joff, the janitor, Baker Chris, Dr. Logan, Barker Jeremy, Chris of the Riches, Yoko and her Pat Rat Show, and me, Andy the Hiker. We're all here to help the gym leaders. That's wild. That's actually kind of cute. Everyone that Black has met along his way. That's actually cute. And you can even see that Andy's kind of shaking a little bit. Oh, that's adorable. Okay. Oh, this is a weird layout. Yeah, where is White? I actually kind of expected that to be White calling out. By Hoodman, her whereabouts are currently unknown. Huh. Oh, and Reshiram doesn't even have a level. That's wild. Reshiram has no level. Oh, Musha got all the way up to level 56. Nice. Only Caracosta is like the lowest level and not in the 50 range. Huh. And then there's just Reshiram. Oh, he's definitely not keeping the Reshiram. Alright, it's the last chapter of this video. Zekrom vs. Reshiram Part 2. Title, Adventure number 61, Triple Threat. All of the city's citizens rush up to the castle saying, let's do it! We'll save the gym leaders! Black says, ew. Joff says, what are you standing there for, kid? Chris says, do what you're supposed to do. Andy says, that's right, young man. Go and face your true opponent. Black takes a moment, looking to the sky, seeing Zekrom and Reshiram facing off. Black says, what am I supposed to? My true opponent. He looks to End. He recalls the rest of his Pokemon and tells Brave, are you brave? Take me to Reshiram. As high in the sky, the two are facing off. The people in the crowd start to panic a little. Drayden overhearing them say, "Two dragon-type Pokemon are about to fight. It's just like the legend of the creation of Unova." The members of Team Plasma in the audience say, "That's right. Today is the day we celebrate the new creation of Unova. The one with the black dragon-type Pokemon is our king, the hero of ideals." Whereas the people say, "Who do you think will win?" "I don't know. I think Reshiram's gonna win." "No, Zekrom. I'm betting on Reshiram." The people are divided. Zekrom, Reshiram, Zekrom, Reshiram, Zekrom, Reshiram. The sages start to discuss amongst themselves. "Oh, the battle between ideal and the truth is nothing but an entertainment for these common people. How sad. How very sad." Getsus tells them, "That's what common folk are like, and that's why we must lead them in the right direction. And to accomplish that, we must first get rid of those who would mislead them." Zenzalin is freed by Hydreigon, saying, "Master Getsus." Getsus says, "I shall overlook your disobedience and insubordination, because now you must fight." All of the sages send out their Pokemon. They clash with all of the trainers' Pokemon. Cragnole, Mandibuzz, Seismitoad, nothing that immediately comes to mind. Trish growls, while Jeremy says, "No sweat. There are 7 of them and 7 of us. We aren't outnumbered." Josh says, "That's right." And he tells his, Trubbish to use Clear Smog, while one of the sages tells his Rude tells his Lampet to not so fast, use Hex, and it uses Hex on Trubbish. As Black looks down at the battle, he brings out his Pokemon saying, "Bo, Kosa, Musha, Tula, go and help Andy and the others." And they get stuck in the fight as well. Andy calls out, "Thank you, young man." Black says, "Don't worry, Brave. Take a look at End. He doesn't have any other Pokemon with him either. He's only got Zekrom. This means it's going to be a one-on-one battle." He jumps onto Reshiram's back, recalling Braviary. And so, N Black, Zekrom, and Reshiram face off, the narrator saying, "And now, the 2 legendary Pokemon are about to battle again, high above the Pokemon League Stadium." Black says, "So, this is it, huh?" As he shivers, he says, "I can't stop shaking. I just can't believe it. Here I am with legendary Pokemon Reshiram facing off against legendary Pokemon Zekrom. Zekrom is being ridden by my enemy End. I have to fight them both together. And to top it off, the energy emanating from these 2 Pokemon is taking a big toll on me." Okay, so we're bringing back the whole legendary Pokemon really kind of taking a lot out of you, which still kind of throws me off about Diamond being able to just command. Well, he can't always command Regigigas. Regigigas tends to be very situational. But how is N just withstanding this? N says, "Be careful. If you can't hear the voice of your friend Reshiram, you'll be crushed flat." But taking Black off guard, Reshiram rushes in, clashing with Zekrom. Zekrom manages to defend, while Reshiram leaps back and charges up an attack, firing off a massive blast of energy. It hits Zekrom square on, and Black coughs from the smoke, saying, "A direct hit. Did we do it?" Ben says, "Is that the best you can do?" "Oh, just as I thought. You can't hear Reshiram's voice, can you?" Black growls, while Zekrom attacks. Reshiram manages to dodge. Black says, "Nuts. All I'm doing is holding on to Reshiram for dear life. I haven't given any commands. Hey, Reshiram, what do you need from me?" Yeah, that is a good question, because he's kind of just been thrown into this without really knowing what he needs to do here. Cedric watches their battle, calling out to Black. He says, "Black's having trouble drawing out Reshiram's full power. I might be able to advise him. If only I had the means to fly up to him." Only for Looker to arrive, fully in disguise as Lucar, saying, "Are you in need of assistance? Allow me to help. International Police Equipment, Mimic Balloon Type F. It's a Driftbloom hot air balloon." Cedric says, "Oh, you're a member of the International Police?" Looker says, "Huh? How can you tell?" He says, looking to his Krogan, who just face palms. Looker tells him, No, not at all. I'm Lucar, your everyday Pokemon League contestant." Cedric says, "But you..." Looker says, "Are you getting into the balloon or not?" But Luke comes running. Leo, I keep calling him Luke. Leo comes running up with his Deanna, isn't there like every evolution of this Pokemon currently on the field? Because Leo has a Deanna. Doesn't one of the sages? Yeah, one of the sages has a Zuelis. And then Getsus has a Hydreigon. Like, what are the odds of that? That's actually kind of wild. But Leo comes running up saying, hey, wait for me. I want to go too. He jumps in, like you're saying, Leo. Leo says, I want to cheer Black on. Well, Cedric says, there's no room. But they do float up regardless. Leo saying, we're coming to help you, Black. But as Reshiram and Zekrom clash, Black says, hey, Reshiram, I know about the legend of the creation of Unova, that the two twin princes created Unova with the aid of a powerful dragon-type Pokemon. But each of the princes wanted something different. So the legendary dragon-type Pokemon split in two, and each half went with one of the princes. Reshiram, you went with the younger brother who lived for the pursuit of truth. So I'm only the second person to ride on your back. Did your first rider, the prince, feel overwhelmed like me? How did he fight with you? Why did you choose me anyway? Black says, very much under the strain of everything going on. But suddenly, Cedric calls out, Black! We've come to help you. Like Leo says. Black says, what? Oh, Leo sends in his Deanno, Cedric sends in Samurott, and Looker sends in Krogunk. They all clash with Zekrom. Oh, but Samurott's, scallop sword breaks on Zekrom's body. Cedric says, Zekrom's body is too tough, and Zekrom bats them away. They all manage to catch their Pokemon on the balloon. Black says, thanks, but I would have beaten it already if simple attacks like that worked on Zekrom. And learning more about its attacks and defenses won't help either. You need to find out what's in Reshiram's heart. Oh, suddenly Zekrom's weird-ass tail starts to rev up. Is it a freaking engine? I know it's like electric type, but okay, I wasn't expecting that. Cedric says, that's... Oh, whoa! Zekrom sends in a massive bolt that strikes Reshiram and Black. Reshiram is almost thrown off of Zekrom, much to the shock of Looker, Cedric, and Leo. But Black manages to catch a hold of Reshiram's tail. Reshiram's tail starts to heat up, literally, and Black is kind of almost burned on it. And he says, oh, what was that for, Reshiram? Cedric calls out, Black, hand me your Pokédex. Black says, what? At a time like this? Cedric says, because it's a time like this, hurry. Black sends over the Pokédex with Braviary, saying, go. Looker questions, what are you doing? Cedric says, I'm going to update it. Like Black said, I can't help him directly in battle, but I'm a Pokemon researcher. My knowledge and research might come in handy somehow. I'll install all the data on Zekrom and Reshiram that I've gathered from ruins, documents, and legends. Knowing more about their abilities and characteristics might help Black figure out what's going on inside Reshiram's head. Okay, I'm done. He hands it back over to Braviary. Braviary hands it over to Black. Black reads the entry saying, they're both Dragon-type Pokemon. They have Dragon-type bodies, but they have different moves. Zekrom is also an electric type, and Reshiram is also a fire type. Zekrom's tail is shaped like an electric generator. It uses it to whip up its surge of electricity. Reshiram, on the other hand, uses his tail like a torch to blast flames. Oh, okay. It makes sense. I learned that firsthand there, first foot. Reshiram's tail started to shine and burn after it got hit by an attack. It must have been angry. The Black seems to realize something, saying, now I get it. I bonded with my Pokemon during battle by using my Pokédex to learn more about them. Reshiram, the Lightstone, chose me because I was opposed to Team Plasma N's mission. Zekrom awoke from its stone from N because it had an unbending ideal. I didn't know what my truth was at first. Reshiram was waiting for me inside the stone, waiting for me to get in touch with my truth. There's no need for me to wonder how to fight with this battle or why I was chosen. I can't lose. All I have to do is face Zekrom with the same depth of feeling as you, Reshiram. Alright, this is where the battle really begins, Reshiram. And the two race off into battle. N seems to realize something and questions, you can hear Reshiram's voice. Black, I see you are the one Reshiram chose after all, the hero of truth. And now, the clash fully begins. Zekrom's tail starts to rev up. Black says, Zekrom has started to spin its generator. It's creating a powerful electric current. And its tail is shining bright blue. It's gone into overdrive. Or it's using overdrive. Black looks to sky as it rumbles. and lightning strikes from on high onto Reshiram and Black. Black says, Fusion Bolt, Zekron's signature move, which he can use when it's in an overdrive state. But Reshiram is actually looking to Black. Black says, it created a thundercloud out of nowhere and shot a powerful lightning bolt at us. Reshiram, one more of those attacks and we're done for. But it's the same for Zekrom. Yeah, Zekrom looks a little tired. You're in an overdrive state too now, aren't you, Reshiram? You can use Fusion Flare, a move equal in power to Fusion Bolt, and you can increase the power of your attack by using your move after your opponent uses its move, but that never calls out his order. How will I know when Zekrom's about to strike? Wait, I have an idea. I want you to use Fusion Flare when... Oh, whispered in, Reshiram listened. The two face off again, ready to strike. Looker, Leo, and Cedric look on with bated breath. N doesn't say anything. The clouds appear overhead. Black notices, tells Reshiram, here comes the attack, now! And Reshiram moves out of the way and unleashes Fusion Flare onto Zekrom, utterly engulfing it in fire. Oh, and Zekrom falls. Well, dang. Black stands triumphant with Reshiram. There's no way that's all there is to it, though. Nah, it's too simple. It's too simple. Nah, it's too simple. Man, a lot is happening. Part of me kind of wants to call it, like, it feels a little rushed, but at the same time, it's the final battle. It should feel like everything's rushing to its conclusion. It's just weird that White is nowhere to be seen. That's the thing that's kind of throwing me off. And everything is played out with a lot of purpose. So I don't want to say that they're rushing it, but I don't know. I mean, with the way that everything has gone down, it's a massive ambush. In a lot of other finales, you have battles just kind of taking place, you know, over distances and in different locations and areas. And here's a fight over here, there's a fight over here, there's a fight over there, there's a fight over there, boom, 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 boom. This is probably the most straightforward a battle has really ever been. Shoot, usually we're trying to stop the legendaries from fighting. You're not usually engaged with the legendaries to fight. Not all the time. But it has been pretty fun. I mean, it's just that the Swords of Justice being petrified the way they were. And will that paint Keldeo in the future on how he sees people? Will he feel like he shouldn't have gotten involved? Because that feels like something that's going to linger for a while. It was cool when the castle came out. I thought about that. I'm just like, wait a minute. How's that all going to work? And it worked out pretty perfectly. It was really cool. I'm still questioning how the castle moves underground, though. I don't get that. I want an explanation. Maybe there's one in like the end bits of the book or something. But the showdown between Zekrom and Reshiram is cool. It just feels like it needs, I don't know. It feels like one of those things where it needed to be happening in the background where everybody else finished their fights or something. Because just having it just suddenly end is weird. Feels like there's definitely has to be more to it than this. But what? I guess we'll see. But let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, comment, subscribe if you enjoyed the ride. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, I've been Duuz-Diz-Din, and I hope to see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Bye-bye.